Turning a 4th round pick into a long-term solution feels like a win to me. Devils starting off trade deadline day making internal moves with the possibility to create external moves. Welcome in to Devils Digest. Go ahead, hit the subscribe button for all things Devils. Devils starting off trade deadline day working on their current roster. There it is, Johnathan Kovacevic, 5 years, $4 million a year. Full contract breakdown. As you can see, as the years go on, money drops off a little bit, makes it a little bit easier on the cap, makes it a little bit more expendable down the line. So Devils have options here with Johnathan Kovacevic. Look, you know what you're going to get out of Johnathan Kovacevic. Defensive defenseman, can give you 19 minutes a night. You can play him really wherever you want in your defensive lineup. You feel comfortable putting him with your best defenseman. You feel comfortable putting him on your bottom pairing. You know what you're going to get out of Johnathan Kovacevic. And sometimes that's all you really need. That's all you really want. Fitzgerald has made it a pretty big statement that he wants as many defensemen as he can get. Pretty much every single year here, he's made some type of trade, some type of pickup to get a defenseman. I mean, his first move when he came to New Jersey was Ryan Murray, bringing Ryan Murray over here. Dougie Hamilton, that big splash in 2021 offseason, that was Tom Fitzgerald. Fitzgerald has made it very obvious and abundantly clear he wants defense. He can't have enough of it. So when he finds a player that he likes, he wants him there long term. And that's what they did with Kovacevic. Now, when you look at the contract, and you know what, let me bring that back up. When you look at the contract, 5 years, $4 million a year. Does he get that on the open market? Probably not. I don't think Kovacevic gets 5 seasons on the open market at a $4 million price point. But when you have a defenseman who you like, who you know what you're going to get out of, sometimes you just do it. You go into the playoffs and you have the 2 young defensemen in Seamus Casey and Simone Nemec. And you don't always know what they're going to bring each night. I mean, they're young. They're developing. They're learning. Kovacevic, you kind of know what you're going to get. Now, we saw in the Dallas game 2 really bad plays. The penalty with the puck over the boards, the icing with 14 seconds left. So that's something of a rarity with a Johnathan Kovacevic. That's why you bring him back. That's why you bring him in. With a Simone Nemec or a Seamus Casey, you might see that a little bit more often. You might be a little bit more hesitant in certain situations with players like them. Do they have more upside? Do they add more offense? Absolutely. I don't think anyone's arguing that. But when you look at who's going to give you and you know what you're going to get, you feel probably a little bit more comfortable with Johnathan Kovacevic at this point in his career. I mean, go ahead, look at Jay Fresh's hockey card. Underlying numbers, pretty solid. They definitely did dip a little bit from when the season started to where the Devils are now. Definitely dipped a little bit, but pretty solid. He gives you that defensive structure that you need on your back end. He can give you the minutes that you want. So the way that I think the Devils kind of look at this is Tom Fitzgerald said, I have a defenseman I like. Sheldon Keefe likes to play him. I can just already know I have this and kind of cross off the books and it's all good. I mean, not as good as Jonas Siegenthaler, but kind of the same type of thought process there. Devils go out, they make a trade for Jonas Siegenthaler. Player not too known across the league. Now he's one of the best defensive defensemen in the NHL. Kovacevic, didn't really hear about him as much in Montreal. We see how valuable he can be at times for the Devils. When you know what you're going to get out of a player, it's a lot easier to pay them. And that's what the Devils did here. They know what they're going to get out of Johnathan Kovacevic. They know he's reliable. They know he can eat up minutes. They know he can play defense. They know what they can do with Kovacevic. So when you get all those things, sometimes you just sign the contract. And when you sign a contract like that with Johnathan Kovacevic, giving him 5 years, giving him $4 million a year, all of a sudden, your other defensemen become a little bit more expendable in trade options. Now, we all remember they drafted Simon Nemec second overall in 2022. It's clear they don't feel comfortable with him yet. Sheldon Keefe doesn't always want to play him. He spent time in the AHL. It's clear to this point, and this is not an overreaction, it has not gone the way they wanted it to. It has not gone the way they wanted it to for the Devils. Simon Nemec is unhappy. It has not worked out. Now, does that mean it can't work out down the line and he can't be a top defenseman? No, that does not mean that at all. But to this point, year 3, it has not worked out for New Jersey. So, a player with value, and it's not working out, and you have what you want on defense, and you have it kind of locked up for the most part. Pesce's locked up, Hamilton's locked up, Siegenthaler's locked up, now Kovacevic is locked up. You kind of have what you want locked up. That makes it much more expendable for Tom Fitzgerald on these younger defensemen. He just drafted Siliev 10th overall. He's drafted Seamus Casey, who's fit in pretty nicely. He's drafted Simon Nemec. These players all now become expendable because you're offensively, how they've looked offensively, they have not done enough. They haven't scored enough. Nobody's stepped up. Players have had down years. Nobody's developed and having one of their top seasons. I mean, I think we expected a lot more from Dawson Mercer. We were hoping last year was kind of just a down year. There are, I guess, questions around it now. He's not having a great season. So, with a trade deadline here, could the Devils make a move with Simon Nemec? Could they make a move with Seamus Casey? Because I still think both of those players' values are very high. Even though technically it hasn't worked out completely at the NHL level yet, I don't think anyone's going crazy that 21-year-old defensemen aren't working out in the NHL right away. So when you have players with high value, you have your defense set, that definitely opens up trade routes for New Jersey. You have missing pieces on offense. Your offense has not given you what you wanted this year. So you have your young defenseman. Your defense looks pretty locked up. It definitely opens up trade value. It'll be interesting to see what they do later today with those young defensemen. If they make a trade for a forward, if they hold on to them, what they do, there's more options now on the table. I don't think it's a fluke that Johnathan Kovacevic got signed on trade deadline day. I think they could have done that, waited until the offseason. I don't think this is a fluke. Now, does something get done? We'll have to wait and see. But do I think Fitzgerald has something on his mind that he's trying to get done with one of those young defensemen? I think he's at least flirting with the idea. All in all, though, good contract from Tom Fitzgerald. Like I said, you saw it. It's a little bit easier to trade down the line. Why don't I just bring it up here one more time? 5 years, $20 million, gets cheaper as you keep going. So a contract that is tradable down the line. But here you go. You get a player who you know what you're going to get out of. You're not too worried about what's going to happen down the line or what's going to happen right now. You kind of know what you're going to get out of the player. And like I said, he's expendable as we keep going. He's only going to turn 28 years old in July. He's still not at an old age yet. And when he does, if it's kind of fallen off a little bit, it's a tradable contract. So all in all, I think it's a good start for Tom Fitzgerald. We'll see how he continues trade deadline day. Let me know in the comments what you think below about the Kovacevic deal. Do you like it, or would you rather them maybe go with an external option? All right, see you guys.